Welcome, friends. This is Emmy. I'm excited to be here with you. We are doing part 2 of our fun blueberry wreath. We all picked blueberries. We all put them on our wreath in part 1. And now we're going to take time to color. So grab your Prismas. I'll show you the ones we're going to use, or the ones I'm going to use. How about that? I am adding something new to the mix today. I am going to use my colorless blender stump or blender. If you happen to have one, that will work wonderful for you, and I'll demonstrate techniques. We're also going to use our white. If you do not have your white, then, or if you don't have a colorless blender stump, then just go for white. It will do the same thing or very close to it. Grab some colors. We're going to use these, all of them in different orders. I'm going to use a red, I'm going to use a blue, I'm going to use, how about if I turn them so you can see them? Wouldn't that be nice? I'm going to use a bright red, an aquamarine, I'm going to use a raspberry or a pink shade. Again, anything you have is going to be fine. I'm going to use another, is that the same one? Just about, isn't it? Scarlet Lake. Apparently I like that one a lot. I will be using some oranges and some yellows because I think that we're getting into a fall wreath here. So look for those colors if you have them in your pile. And then we're going to use a couple of greens. I happen to have this apple green and I happen to have a parrot green. I'm going to use those for my leaves. If you don't happen to have those, grab whatever greens you have. I'm going to use a brown, some shade of brown that you like. And I might actually use a French gray also. Now, believe it or not, I keep a paintbrush handy, and that it's for brushing away my little divots and things like that that I run into. So those are the supplies you're going to need, and of course a trusty pencil sharpener, whatever that is, you might need it. Setting these all aside for a minute, let's see where we're going. One thing that always helps me when I'm coloring something, when I'm adding my Prisma shades to it, color pencil, I like to have my name on my work. This is why. No matter where I start, I remember I always come back here to my name. So that does help me a lot because I'm going to start with all the blueberries first. This is similar to the one that we did together. The one that we did together is actually this one, and I made the blueberries 2 different shades, as you can see, and I experimented on the back as well, which is a great idea. Cardstock is what you're looking for. I'm going to start off with my purple or blue. I'm also going to start off with a tiny bit of a red, light red or pinkish red. That would be the best for this. And I'm going to use my white, and I keep them all 3 in my hand. Keeping in mind, when I do color pencil, there are always 3 colors. There's a very light shade that I can get out of this working very lightly. There is a medium pigment that I can get out of this. And if I push really hard, I actually have a 3rd color. So keep that in mind, and also we always try to work in the sharpest pencil possible because we're going to work into some tiny areas, and so you're going to want these to be very sharp. I'm going to use the white as what they call a resist, and the resist means that I want it to slide over the color pencils that I'm using. So I'm going to put some white maybe around the bottom, see how I'm doing this, and another area. I'm going to do one of these groups at a time. I'm not going to try to do all the groups because that is just too much to remember that I've done white for my resist. I'm going to get a little bit of pink on here, just light. You see I'm working the lightest pigment that I can. Just light and kind of wherever I want a little pink. And I kind of would like this to shine through a little bit, but I am still working very lightly. And then I switch over to my darkest blue that I have in my hand and my grouping of pencils. And again, circular motion going over the red going over all the shades that I've put on here. And if I want that white to come out, I'll show you how that's going to work in a minute. Now this is where you can really get your zen, is when you're doing color pencil and adding color to your work. I'm kind of pushing as I do my circular motion. I push my paper a little, or push my circles and push against the paper a tiny bit. And you see that I left all the shading on there, and that's a good thing. All my colors will come through. Let's go back to the white. It will kind of create a creamy color with my white here now. And see how that kind of just makes all the colors kind of lay across. Push. So pretty. I'm going to get some more dark blue on here. I'm real happy with this color, the way it's coming across. I hope you are too. I can just have a tiniest hint of the red in the berry, of what it was before it was so beautifully ripe. Now, I don't know if you can see it, I've got really perfect paper for this job because it's real smooth. It's kind of like a Bristol paper, which means there shouldn't be any divots. And if I lay this colorless blender stump on here, colorless blender, you see how that pushes all the shades in together? Now, if you're working with something that has a lot of different divots in it, you'll have to go over your work several times. And if you feel you need to, be sure that you reapply your black anywhere. I don't feel I need to on this, but I might along the way. And why don't you go ahead and catch up with me? And I will try to speed this up a little for you. let's go to what I want to do with the Muka is add a little of this French gray. I'll take it down the stem and most of the ball. Then I'm going to come back with the blender stump or the colorless blender and push that color around a bit. And it kind of blends right over that space that I left open. See how that kind of pushes it around a little bit? I really like that. I hope you do too. I might have to go over it again just a bit. A little bit of a touch up. A little bit darker in a couple of spots here. Alrighty, let's switch gears and go to the greens. For this, I chose a blue green and an apple green for my leaves. And what I'm going to do is all of the base of the leaves first. So I'm going to kind of go halfway up, as you can see. Uh-oh, look what I forgot. Oops. I'm using a medium pressure, as you can see, but I'm starting to get my zoning on too here, so I'm forgetting to talk to you. Oh, look how pretty that is when they're blended. So if you happen to have the two greens, that would be real nice. If you don't, you'll be fine. But it is fun to practice if you have a beginner set to try to get some secondary colors. A little bit in the same family, only you come up with a new color altogether. It's more or less a chartreuse now. And it's just blended. It's so creamy. Look how nicely that blueberry is nestled in there, ha ha. Oh, brother. Oh, I'll get you, don't you worry. Back with my first green and all over it. Now look what happens. Push the color around. There's a lot more color on here now. Now, on such a tiny surface, I really don't need to use the blender, the colorless blender at this point. What a pretty, pretty color. It's just luscious. I hope you're liking it as much as me. I think I already did these, didn't I? Well, just a touch of a once over. Yup, I know I did. All right, let's go get him. A little bit of that red, that raspberry red. Boy, he totally got missed. A little bit of the blue. Work it out with the blender stump. Blender. Oh man, that's pretty. Almost looks prettier than the others now. Ooh, isn't that pretty? Alrighty, the next thing I'd like to do is grab my yellow and my orange. I'm gonna work on this here, this area. The first thing I'm gonna do is lay a little orange on here, on the base of each of these henna drum flowers. Grab my yellow and push that orange up. Push. Kind of like candy corn almost, isn't it? And then I want to do the two sides of this sunny yellow that I have here, just two sides. Very pretty. And then grab my colorless blender. Push this first. And then come and do this. Push these together. And you'll see, look, it still has a lighter yellow in the middle. Very, very fun. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of the green I already used for this stem here. Grab your green if you have it. I just think that this is a pretty contrast. But you should use whatever you happen to have on hand. So this one, I ended up thinking that that would be pretty as with the orange and the red flowers. So I'm using orange and red, and I'll start with red at the base. Just push some red in here. Now these are just my ideas of color combinations. You know you can change it up. I truly hope you do. And then orange to the pushing out. And when I blend it, it will be amazing, I think. As you see, I'm not being particularly careful how I get that orange on there, because when I get my colorless blender on, it's going to push the shades all around. Just beautiful. Grab my yellow. I want to have yellow all over everything and in the middle. It just looks like that flower is on fire. Pretty much used all the colors I wanted to try. The only thing I want to do now is I want to go all the way around here with two shades. I want to use my brown and my yellow, because I already decided that this wreath is going to be yellow like straw, and it's going to be brown too. So I'm just washing, as you can see, very quickly laying yellow on here. Not being perfect by a long shot. It's on purpose. I'll blend it all out with the brown. Now any brown that you have or orange, you know, you're just trying to think of something that would be attractive on a wreath, on a straw wreath. Maybe you'll put some spots on here of orange. How fun is this? Oh my goodness. It's so pretty. I love color. I love it all. Okay, look at you. And there's our color lesson for today. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. And please subscribe, like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I hope you enjoyed our color lesson. Join some like-minded folks. Emmy Zen Friends is very fun on Facebook. And show us what you got going on. Thanks a lot. Bye.